How did Toyota, who seem to have started at the bottom of the table, become the world-leading car manufacturer, surpassing the likes of General Motors and even Ford Motors? It's an interesting question to ask because this is definitely not an overnight success. Far back as the 1980s, Ford Motors was producing over 8,000 cars per day, while Toyota was doing about 2,500 cars in 12 years. Their focus was mainly on two things. One is efficiency by trying to consistently improve their processes, and second is market dynamism, understanding that customers' wants are actually dynamic in nature and always trying to meet their customers' demands. How did they do it? How did a company that had almost zero market share rise to the top of the table to becoming the world-leading car manufacturers, having over 11% of the market share as they speak? Another interesting thing to know is the fact that Toyota had every reason to fail. Being a Japanese company and Japan being a country that was prone to natural disaster, earthquake could actually just swallow up your company in a minute. Also, they were a country that was terribly affected by the Second World War, so they were in a deep financial crisis. But the truth is, they still wanted in the automobile industry. So based on all of these constraints, the founder Hideo Toyoda and some top members of the board decided to pay the Ford plant a visit just to understand how exactly they are able to improve their manufacturing process. So after their visit to the Ford manufacturing plant, they realized that they couldn't copy the Ford manufacturing processes because Ford Motors was not producing the cheap and small cars. So Toyota decided to focus on quality and reliability at low prices. They did this by creating a manufacturing model that actually basically focused on reduction of waste by only producing what was needed. They even bought some Ford cars and tore them apart just in search of model ideas that could make their processes more efficient. This efficiency model made them to sell over 1 million import vehicles to the United States during the oil crisis because they created vehicles that were extremely fuel efficient. I'm sure you're all aware of how efficient the Toyota Corolla models are. Lastly, listening to the customers' wants back then was not really so much of a thing, because even Henry Ford mentioned it. If I was to ask my customers what they actually wanted, they would have told me faster horses. But then Toyota knew that customers' wants were pretty much dynamic and they capitalized on it. Back then, Ford Motors operated what we call the push system, meaning they produce vehicles plainly based on forecasts and then they finally store them as inventory in their warehouses. And at this point, customers did not have so much of a choice but to buy these vehicles that have already been produced and stored in their warehouses. On the other hand, Toyota operated what we call the pull system, meaning pulling directly from the customers and giving them exactly what they wanted using the just-in-time supply chain methodology, which made them have close to zero inventory, incurring no warehouse costs. This was a slow ride, but one which I would definitely call a slow and steady one, which made them to eventually win the race to becoming the world-leading car manufacturers by mainly just focusing on improving their processes by being more efficient and then giving customers what they wanted.